people start screaming when they see what happened seconds after Trump landed in Cincinnati. President Donald Trump dropped everything this morning to get on Air Force One en route to the Midwest. He landed in Cincinnati, Ohio, where a swarm of people were standing on the tarmac awaiting his arrival. However, seconds after he stepped off the aircraft, onlookers began to scream when they saw what happened after he started to walk toward him. During Trump's campaign, he famously said that he only works for one special interest group: the American people. He proved that by making Middle America he spent the majority of his time campaigning, even after he won the election, to thank his faithful voters. He returned to the heartland of the country this week to make good on a campaign promise that he vowed to keep when something unexpected happened. Air Force One landed at Lincoln Airport, where a podium was set up for him a few feet from the steps descending from the aircraft. He was set to speak there to a crowd of people eager to hear what he had to say about one important item of business and the perfect guests there he brought along with him to drive his point home. While the crowd knew that the president was going to speak about the epic failure that is Obamacare and what he plans to replace it with, they started screaming and cheering after hearing what else he had for them that day. Of critical concern to every citizen in Ohio and around the country, is the health care crisis. Americans have been bullied into paying sky-high premiums through Obamacare and financially punished if they can't afford it. The cost is only part of the problem, as the system has made it difficult to get adequate coverage and find a provider despite the price people are forced to pay for something less than they had before. WCPO reports. At Lincoln Airport, Trump spoke briefly in favor of his proposed health care reforms. He was joined by families from Ohio and Kentucky he described as victims of the Obamacare catastrophe. Trump said the families represented others going through turmoil because of health care and blamed the Affordable Care Act for increasing premiums and insurers exiting the marketplace, including Anthem's announcement they would withdraw from the Ohio exchange at the end of the year. Trump praised the House of Representatives for passing a health care reform bill and called on the Senate to do likewise, denouncing obstructionists who oppose the plan. "We are working very hard to fix this big problem," he said. Today's visit to Cincinnati marks the first for Trump since becoming the commander-in-chief, and he had a lot of ground to cover with the group there to hear what he had to say. Outside of health care, infrastructure was on his list of topics to discuss, which he addressed to a cheering crowd excited for what the man they voted for was going to do in return to fulfill the promises he made to them. Trump has been critical of the country's failing infrastructure, which doesn't compare to the innovation in most other countries. It's essentially no different than the failure of Obamacare, which is why it's not a coincidence he's addressing his plan to fix both to the people in Ohio today. Standing along the Ohio River with coal barges behind him and workers in hard hats in front of him, Trump said his administration will launch an infrastructure program that will rebuild the nation and produce millions of jobs, Cincinnati.com reported. "It's time to recapture our legacy as a nation of builders," President Trump said from his tarmac podium today. "The future is going to be beautiful and the future is going to be bright." He said the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, is dying and can only be saved by Republicans, the report by Cincinnati.com explained. Trump's stop in this great state was more than well received, as the droves of attendees there didn't just hear what he had to say, but know that it's more than just words. Trump doesn't want to be made to fool to say he's going to do something huge, that people are counting on him to do, and then disappoint by not delivering. He's not a man of false promises like his predecessor. He will tirelessly until he fixes the insurmountable issues he was handed with this presidency, because he knows that the American people are counting on him and they are who he works for.